Elon Musk lives as a beggar for a week. You won't believe what happens at the end. Before we dive in, kindly hit the subscribe button and let us know where you're watching from in the comments. Elon Musk adjusted the tattered hoodie that sagged over his shoulders. Its once black fabric now faded and torn. His reflection in the grimy glass of an abandoned shop revealed a face shadowed by an unkempt fake beard, and his usual sharp gaze seemed dulled by exhaustion. The biting December wind cut through the thin clothes, but Elon barely flinched. This was part of the plan. For the past week, the man behind Tesla and SpaceX had chosen to strip himself of privilege and status, stepping into a life no one would associate with him, a beggar on the streets. San Francisco, a city bustling with innovation, had its darker side, alleys filled with people ignored by society. Elon's goal was clear: to live as one of them, to see through their eyes, and to discover what the world often overlooked. As he sat on the icy pavement with a cardboard sign scrawled in shaky letters, "Hungry, just need a meal," people passed him without a second glance. Some tightened their coats as they walked by. Others avoided eye contact completely. Elon wasn't offended. Instead, he observed, what would it take for people to notice the hidden worth in those society cast aside? That's when he met Clara, a young woman no older than 25 with a paint-stained coat and a canvas bag clutched to her chest. She knelt beside him and whispered, "This street isn't kind, but it can be inspiring. You'll see." She handed him a torn piece of paper, a sketch of the city's skyline, drawn with delicate precision. Elon stared at it, stunned by her talent. In the grime and chaos, art bloomed in ways no one would expect. Elon's eyes lingered on Clara's sketch, the paper trembling slightly in his cold hands. It wasn't just a drawing, it was a window into her vision of the world, one where beauty coexisted with hardship. "Did you make this?" Elon asked, his voice low and gravelly, blending perfectly with his disguise. Clara nodded, brushing a lock of unkempt hair behind her ear. "Yeah, I sketch whatever keeps me sane. It's all I've got left." She glanced at his sign and frowned. "You're new here. Don't let the streets eat you alive." Before he could reply, Clara walked off, her canvas bag slung over her shoulder. Elon watched her disappear into the maze of alleys, his mind racing. In a world where billion-dollar companies were chasing innovation, how many people like Clara, brimming with untapped potential, were slipping through the cracks? As the day wore on, Elon's perspective continued to shift. Sitting on the pavement, he noticed things he'd never seen before. The nervous glances of people afraid to get too close, the clinking of coins dropped hastily by those who didn't want to stop, and the sheer indifference from the crowds hurrying past. That evening, Elon wandered to a shelter where a line had already formed. Steam rose from trays of hot food inside, but what caught his attention was the man standing at the back of the line. Marcus. Tall, with tired eyes, he carried himself like someone who didn't belong, his clothes too clean, his posture too confident. Elon approached cautiously. "First time here?" Marcus turned and smirked. "Not exactly. I come here when I'm out of options." He paused, studying Elon. "I used to be a tech guy, coder, designer, you name it. But one bad decision and the job market turned its back on me." Elon's ears perked up. "A tech guy? Out here?" "I still build things," Marcus continued, staring into the distance. "Projects no one sees. Just need a chance to prove I still matter." Elon's mind buzzed. Two people, Clara with her art, Marcus with his tech skills, buried by circumstances they couldn't control. For Elon, it was becoming clear. The streets didn't just hold desperation, they held potential waiting to be discovered. The question was, how could he unlock it? The shelter's air was thick with the aroma of steaming stew and fresh bread. Elon took a seat beside Marcus, the clatter of utensils around them drowning out their conversation. Despite his worn disguise, Elon's curiosity made him stand out. He peppered Marcus with questions about his past projects, his skills, and the challenges he faced. Marcus spoke with a mixture of pride and regret. "I built an app once, streamlined deliveries for small businesses. It worked, but the funding fell through. Investors pulled out and, well, here I am." He gave a hollow laugh, running a hand through his unruly hair. "It's funny. The ideas are still in my head, but out here no one cares." Elon leaned forward, his sharp mind already connecting dots. What if someone did care? What if there was a way to showcase your work to the world? Marcus raised an eyebrow, skepticism etched across his face. "You're talking fairy tales, man. Out here, all we get is survival." As they talked, Clara appeared, balancing a plate of food with one hand and holding her sketchpad in the other. She slid into the seat across from them, her eyes flicking between the two. "What are you two scheming about?" she asked with a playful smirk. "Dreams," Elon replied, his lips curling into a small smile. "Big ones." Clara rolled her eyes. "Dreams don't pay for dinner." But Elon couldn't let it go. The more he listened to their stories, the clearer it became. These weren't people without worth. They were innovators, creators, trapped in a system that overlooked them. He'd spent his life building rockets and electric cars, but here, in the heart of the city, was a different kind of innovation, the kind born from resilience, struggle, and untapped genius. As the night deepened, Elon couldn't help but feel a growing sense of responsibility. He wasn't just here to observe anymore. He had to act. The next day, Elon's experiment took a dramatic turn. As he wandered the streets, he began recording the people he met. Clara sketching vivid murals on abandoned walls, Marcus scribbling complex algorithms on scraps of paper. Through the lens of his hidden camera, he captured their talents and stories, determined to use his platform to amplify their voices. Unbeknownst to Clara and Marcus, this wasn't just a social experiment. Elon Musk had a plan, a bold, transformative idea that could change their lives forever. The following evening, Clara and Marcus sat under a flickering street lamp, huddled around a small fire for warmth. Elon approached, clutching a notebook filled with scribbles and ideas from his day's observations. He sat beside them, his face solemn but his eyes gleaming with excitement. "I need to tell you both something," Elon began, his voice steady but low. Clara looked up from her sketch pad, and Marcus tilted his head in curiosity. "I'm not exactly who I seem to be." Marcus chuckled, his breath visible in the cold night air. "What, you're some kind of undercover millionaire?" Elon hesitated for a moment, then spoke. "Not a millionaire, a billionaire." The silence was deafening. Clara's pencil froze mid-sketch, and Marcus narrowed his eyes, searching Elon's face for any trace of a joke. "Elon Musk," Elon said simply, pulling back his hood. The street lamp illuminated his familiar features, the signature sharp jawline and intense eyes they'd both seen on TV and online. "No way," Clara whispered, her voice tinged with disbelief. Marcus was equally stunned, his mouth opening and closing like he was trying to form words, but failing. "I came here to understand," Elon continued, his voice soft but earnest, "to see what the world looks like from your perspective. And what I've learned has been humbling." Clara folded her arms, still skeptical. "So what? You're going to write a blog post about how tough it is out here and go back to your penthouse?" Elon shook his head. I'm going to do something real." He pulled out his notebook, flipping it open to reveal sketches, notes, and ideas. "There's so much talent here. Hidden, ignored, forgotten, people like you, Clara, who can create beauty from nothing, and you, Marcus, with ideas that could change industries. I want to create a platform, a way to connect people like you with the resources and opportunities you need." Marcus leaned forward, intrigued despite himself. "A platform? Like a social network?" "More than that," Elon said, his voice growing more passionate. "A marketplace for innovation, where skills and creativity are valued regardless of your background. No red tape, no gatekeepers, just raw talent and potential meeting the right people." Clara raised an eyebrow. "And what's in it for you?" Elon smiled faintly. "A better world, one where no one is overlooked just because of where they come from." For the first time, Marcus and Clara didn't see Elon as a billionaire or a tech mogul. They saw him as someone who genuinely cared, someone who was willing to step into their world to make a difference. This wasn't just about charity, it was about empowerment, and Elon Musk was determined to see it through. A week later, Clara and Marcus found themselves in a sleek conference room at Tesla headquarters, a place they never imagined stepping into. Clara clutched her sketch pad tightly, while Marcus glanced nervously at the polished glass walls and the bustling engineers in the hallway. Elon entered the room, his casual demeanor a stark contrast to the high-tech environment. Behind him was a team of executives and developers, all curious about the two newcomers. "Welcome," Elon said with a grin. "I wanted you both here to help shape this project. Your insights are invaluable." Clara leaned forward, her skepticism melting into cautious curiosity. "You're serious about this, aren't you?" "Dead serious," Elon replied. "The platform is already in development. I'm calling it Visionary Connect. It'll allow people to showcase their skills, projects, and ideas, no matter their background. Think of it as LinkedIn meets Kickstarter, but without the barriers." Marcus nodded slowly, his mind racing with possibilities. "And you really think people will use it? Trust it?" "They will," Elon said confidently, "because it's built on stories like yours. People will see your art, Clara. They'll read about your app, Marcus, and they'll understand that talent and innovation can come from anywhere." Over the next few weeks, Clara and Marcus worked alongside Elon's team, sharing their experiences and helping refine the platform. Clara designed its visual aesthetic, using her artistic talent to create an interface that was both intuitive and inspiring. Marcus contributed technical insights, ensuring that the platform could handle the ambitious goals Elon had set. When the platform launched 6 months later, it made headlines worldwide. Stories of individuals finding opportunities through Visionary Connect began flooding in, artists selling their work directly to buyers, engineers landing jobs with major firms, and innovators securing funding for groundbreaking ideas. But the story didn't end there. Clara's murals began to appear in galleries, her work celebrated for its raw emotional depth. Marcus, meanwhile, finally secured funding for his delivery app, which became a game-changer for small businesses across the country. As for Elon, he continued to walk the streets occasionally, still disguised, still curious. For him, this wasn't just a one-time experiment. It was a lifelong commitment to understanding, connecting, and empowering people from all walks of life. In a world often divided by wealth and status, Elon Musk proved that sometimes it takes stepping into someone else's shoes to build a bridge to a brighter future.